Here we go. Waiting. It'll give us a fun little one. There we go. So recording's on. And here we are in May 24th, 2021. Welcome everybody to our May virtual meeting. Real excited that we've got 40 of us, 39 of us that are all here. This is great. We got the chat window open. We've got a fun evening with some great information. I'm real excited of our guest speaker here this evening, and we're going to get to that in just a minute. So let's get to the fun announcements. So everyone's gotten connected. I'm glad that I started at 6:15. It gives everybody a good chance to get connected. Going to run through some announcements. We're going to talk about the book Manipulated with by Teresa Payton. And then we have our guest speaker, Gwen Bettwy, and I'll go into more info about her in a little bit and her topic. And then we'll wrap it all up, get you out of here by 8:30. So we got to thank 8x8 for getting us hooked up with this platform and allowing us to do have these virtual meetings with everybody, and we can all get together. Andy's usually here, but he's not here tonight. He's busy working away, but do appreciate him. And of course, along with that, are the sponsors that have supported our chapter along the way and helped us out. And we're going to probably start tapping on their door here in the next couple of months as we plan to start getting back to our real in-person events and getting back, I'll say normal, but who knows what that's like. One of the things I'm really proud of with this chapter and in regards to ISC squared chapters is these 4 pillars. And I think a lot of you have heard this from me, but those of you that are guests here or have never been to one of our chapter meetings, I know we've got some new folks. The objectives of the chapter essentially are these 4 pillars: connect, educate, inspire, and secure. These were created by ISC squared for the chapters as that foundation to reach out into the community, get folks connected, people, whether they're in security or getting into security or in school, but get everybody connected, help with that career development, maybe even we do different social outings, join, and there's even opportunities, fellowship, connecting. We really like it. The education aspect, well, that's what we're here tonight. We're going to get some education, which is fantastic. Always lots of fun. We've got some more education coming up. We're going to talk about that. The inspiration of mentoring students, the advocacy for our role in the community, and professional development as well. And then of course, secure, taking that information that we gain and to others and helping organizations, our families, our friends, and helping get them secured as well. All right, so if you've never met me, you're lucky, but my name is James McQuiggan. I am the chapter president. I'm joined here tonight by our other fellow board members. We got Walter Spielman, who is our vice president. We have Amy Rooks, who handles our sponsorship. Yep, there's Walter waving away. If you see him in the breakdown you've got the tic-tac-toe board. I don't think Debbie could make it tonight. I know she's been busy working out in the field, helping all those healthcare folks. I don't think Tom or Robert or Paul even could make it tonight. I know Christopher can't make it. Christopher's going to miss out on the next couple months of our events because he's teaching on Monday nights over at UCF. He's teaching one of the cybersecurity classes, and so he's busy Mondays and Wednesday nights. He misses all of us, at least that's what he told me, and we'll get him back. But he's still doing he's still supporting us behind the scenes. He just may not be at the meetings for the next couple months. You'll have started to notice that you're getting the communications still, but they're now coming from Robert, who handles all of our communications, the Eventbrite, and everything else. All right, so let's talk about what else is coming up in the area. So we're here for May. Next month, we're probably going to still shoot for a virtual event, but I know I got June. Oh, we have our June training, which is virtual, but our June event, July event, we're probably going to do June virtual, but July and August, I'm hoping we can get back in person. September, and then October, we'll call it the annual meeting because that's going to be the one that's at ISC Squared Congress. It's going to start the night before Congress kicks off. I've already been chatting with the fine folks at ISC Squared that will probably do the meeting, kind of like we did a couple years ago when we had Congress here in Orlando. So we're hoping that we will be doing another one on that Sunday night. I'm working with a space right now to, host us. So it'll be something that we're familiar with. It's a place we've been before. So hopefully they'll be able to take care of us, and we'll be able to, this is where the sponsors are going to come in, because we're going to have to pay for all the food and all the good stuff. So pretty well the last Monday of every month right now is when we're meeting. June 5th, we have, I think, about 15 people signed up out of the total 30 that we can have. We're doing a Hacking 101 class. It's put on by Clarinet. Is it Clarinet? Yeah, Clarinet Cybersecurity. You can see the brochure, the PDF there. But this will be a fun class just to learn all about hacking, how they do it, which as defenders comes into play because you really want to understand how a hacker hacks so you can defend against it, right? So registration's open. There's the link. Let's see if I can, I'm trying to think if I can, I will, once I'm done with presenting, I will drop this link into the chat. So if you haven't registered and you want to participate, you're more than welcome to. Would love to have more folks come out. It's $100 for 8 hours, and you're going to learn a lot in those 8 hours. So I assure you it's worth the $100 that's there. So we're not the only game in town, but we do have ISSA. I know Patrick's on the call. Patrick, I think you're on, aren't you? You may need to unmute. You guys just had an event, didn't you, last week? Do you have one for June?
June 11th, lunch and learn.
June 11th.
Should,
you guys are still virtual, right?
Should be out in the website. We're still virtual. Should be out in the website by the end of the week. End of the week.
Awesome. Sounds good. Yeah, centralfloridaissa.org, another great organization. CSNP.org, the cybersecurity nonprofit group, that is hosted by our colleague and good friend, Mr. Bob Henderson of the Central Florida chapter, but he's also helps out the New Jersey chapter as well. So I know we've got some folks here visiting us today from New Jersey. The CitraSec, I know they're still kind of down and out. Ian's not on. Nope. Ian Meyer kind of is involved with that. I haven't heard when they're starting back up, but keep an eye out, hopefully when they start back up. And then we have the ISSA chapter here as well. I know they've been quiet as well. Hopefully they'll start kicking back up with their training events soon. Okay, so we're sitting around 225, 226 active members. So we're really appreciative of all of our members. We're kind of holding steady in the 225 range. And we're just thankful that we have everybody here. Got a great turnout here tonight, so thank you, everybody, for coming out. Speaking of ISC Squared Security Congress, registration is now open. Woohoo! Yay! So they're going to do it hybrid, which is kind of cool. You can go in person or you can do it virtually. It'll be interesting to see how it works out. I know I'm planning on being there. I've got a couple talks submitted, so I'm hoping this year they pick one. If not, I know I'll be down there. This is a conference that I always go to every year. But you can see the ISC Squared in-person online, 1,300. Non-members, 1,600. If you want to do online only, it's 450. So it's pretty good. But it's early bird savings. They are supposed to announce soon whoever's been selected for as a speaker for Congress. So that way they better let us know before early bird ends, because that'll be a bit crappy if you want to go and you didn't get your talk accepted. So, but October 18th to the 20th, and again we'll be doing our meeting on the evening of the 17th. So we'll have more information as we go along, but it's going to be the 11th ISC Squared event. So real excited for that. All right. One of the other things that came in, John reminded me that, where is it, John? There it is. There's a Working with Law Enforcement and the FBI event tomorrow with InfraGard Tampa. It's at 1 p.m. Eastern time. It's about an hour. I don't have the link. I'll dig it up and I'll see if I can drop it in there along with the link for our Hacking 101 class. Yes, Jerry also said, if you got the recent email with the hacking email, we have the Hacking 101 link in there too. But if you're visiting us and don't get the email, I will drop it in the chat, make things a lot easier for you. Okay, so our virtual meeting, we have our book club this month, and we have Teresa Payton's Manipulated book, and we all picked on this, or it was the most popular vote back in February. And it's just a fascinating read. I listened to the audiobook and I read through most of it, but the audiobook was interesting because Teresa reads it. And if you've ever seen Teresa present. She's certainly someone to be reckoned with on stage. She's an excellent presenter, and the book is full of great information. Unfortunately, nobody came forward that wanted to be on the panel that wanted to talk about the book, who read the book. So I can't really do a book club without having any panelists. So I'm going to table it this month. And if folks have read the book and they want to do a panel, then we can do that in one of the future months. But it's no fun if I just get up here and talk about the book. But it is interesting. One of the things that she does, or she did a lot of research with this book, which was incredible. But one of the things she does is meets with, she calls them Hacker X. And Hacker X was involved with the social engineering, misinformation campaigns regarding the 2016 election. And very, very fascinating. But she did a lot of research. She met with the hacker that did the work. She verified the information. She's the former CIO to the George W. Bush White House back. I think she was CIO back in 2002 or 3. But yeah, so if you want to do a panel presentation, we can do a panel presentation. But since nobody came forward, I can't really just, do that. So we'll table that. Which brings me, and I'm very, 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 I say very, very excited that I have this guest speaker here joining us tonight. She's the CEO of Tactical Security Incorporated. She is an author. She's got some new books out, so I'm sure she's going to talk to you about it. Fantastic speaker. I've seen her present many, many, many times. Certainly a cybersecurity advocate. She is a trainer extraordinaire, but I don't know how much training she's doing because she's jumped off the road. She's done after 26 years of training. I'm surprised she just didn't give up after she trained me way back in 2008. I took the boot camp where she taught. I did the exam at the end of the week, and that was back in the day with paper and pencil. And 6 weeks later, I found out I missed it by 6 points. I was so frustrated. I turned around. I called up the boot camp company. I said, "Where's Gwen Bettwy teaching next time? I want to be there." And they said, "Oh yeah, she's up in Atlanta." Up to Atlanta I went because for me, it wasn't, I knew I had missed it. And I figured, all right, I'm not going to go learn under another instructor. I'm going to go back to the same one. So I went back to Gwen. And one of the things I realized by the end of the week was I was helping in our study groups, educate them, the students. So I knew it was sinking in. And like Gwen, when I sat for the CISSP, and I remember her telling the story, you get the first question and, you go, I know the answer for this. And the 4 choices aren't the answer you want. And in test taking, you go, okay, I'll go on to the next one. I don't want to think about it too much. You go on to the next one. Same thing. And you get like 10 questions in and you finally get one. Well, that was the frustration. I finished that exam. I was done in 5 hours. I was pissed. I felt like I failed again, and I ended up passing. So I thank Gwen for where I am today because of her training and everything else. So I appreciate it. So now that I've just gloated all over Gwen and embarrassed the heck out of her, I'm real excited that she's here joining us. She's got 2 new books out. One of them's on cloud. And so Gwen, let me stop sharing. Let's see if it stops. Oh, cancel. Okay, I think I've stopped sharing, so you should be good to go.
Oh, open system preferences.
Oh, you may have to restart the application. That happened to me a couple times.
I don't know what I need.
Hence the reason, I always think, we should check just before we start. Yeah. Oops.
Well,
it may kick you out and have to get you to reconnect.
I don't even have the.
So James, you said you did pass that test. I'm just double checking.
On the second time, yes, I did.
All right. Yeah.
And of course, they don't tell you what your score was, but I did pass the second time back in 2008. So 13 years in as a CISSP. Oh yeah, by the way, when it comes to ISC squared certifications, I think Gwen has them all. CISSP, CISSP-ISSAP, then the other one, the ISSMP. Oh, you didn't get the EP one.
No, that's U.S. government specific. And
no, there. You got the SSCP and then the CCSP. So quite accomplished.
Oh, I cannot share my screen.
Oh, you want to send me the deck and I'll share it?
I can do that.
All right.
Those skills.
Let's see. Anything fun in the chat? Is there a way to change my display name to full name? Oh, Steve F is Steve Finley, if you didn't know already, Walter. He's been in our meeting several times.
There, I just sent it out to you.
Okay. Ryan asked, will it be hybrid in July? If we do a in-person meeting, we're going to try and do a hybrid. So that way, if there are folks that aren't keen on coming back out, then yeah. There we go. Ding. Open. And identity management. Ooh. And the cloud. Hey, there we go. Let me put this into full screen. Where is? Oh, there is. Oh, there it is. Full screen mode. And what's it going? How's it going to kill me? It doesn't. Okay, good. Then I go back to share. See how much fun we have here? Identity management. Share. There we go.
Technology. We can handle this. We can.
Woo-hoo! We can. We're the ISC. We can do this.
Make this stuff go off my screen. All right. So, hi. How are you guys? I really am excited to be here. I remember James being in my class clearly, and it's not a bad thing. It is a good thing. So I've been on the road for 26 years and I'm done, but I have actually taught CISSP for 17 years. I don't know how I lasted that long. I didn't think I'd last 10 years. And if I hadn't quit traveling, I'd still be going. I am doing a little bit of training these days, but just some, because you're right. Between COVID and, COVID. Training is minimized. Bugger. My dog's at the back door asking to go out, and he's 8 months old.
Oh.
And he actually is asking.
Oh.
Would it be rude if I asked you for a minute?
Yeah, go ahead. Take your minute.
I got an 8-month-old puppy. Give me 1 minute. Talk about something.
All right. You know, when you got those 8-month puppies, it's like having an 8-month-old, right? And then they want to go out. I know. We'll skip through our whole slide deck and look at the slides ahead of time. No. Yeah. So I have to dig up the books, but yeah, the books that Gwen wrote were, one deals on the two certs. One is the SSCP and the other one is the CCSP. So you can find them on Amazon, and you'll be able to check out her books there as well. I'll see if I can dig up the link. Let's see if there's anything in the chat. What's going on, everybody? Who was on somebody was on News Channel 6 last week? Was that me or was that somebody else? Will it be hybrid in July? Yeah. So anyway, let me get back to Ryan's question. We're going to try and make it a hybrid. We got to get the cameras and be able to have it so that we can pick up the speaker and do that. But we do want to make it somewhat hybrid. But we want to get some folks out. I think if ECPI University is offered to host us. So if we end up going to them, I think we're going to be able to have about 30 people in the room. So, I know we're not going to be able, well, I'm confident we'll probably fill the room, but Valencia's going to be in super lockdown. Is Valencia not opening up in the fall? Are they still kind of keeping things locked down here?
With Valencia, from what I've been hearing, it's basically only in and out for people who are supposed to be there. We're not going to be allowed to be on campus for office hours. We're only going to be allowed to be there for class. And our classes are only going to be allowed to be 12 students, and each teacher only gets one class.
Wow.
On campus. Yeah. There's going to be other like cleaning and all sorts of other stuff. And we're going to have to wear masks and stuff like that at the moment. That's what they've decided.
Okay.
So
That's for the fall.
yeah, that's for the fall. So over the summer, nothing, obviously, because
Right, obviously,
you know.
yeah.
But as far as fall goes, they're still on super duper secret probation lockdown, you know. So hopefully things improve enough. But they were not happy with the vaccine percentages, so that's why they're still taking that precaution.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because hopefully then come January we'll be back. We'll be able to go back. I'm happy teaching online anyway, so that's just me. So cool.
Yeah, the only class I'm not happy with online is that hardware class. That hardware class
Yeah.
has just been awful to try to teach online.
Yeah.
Online. That's the A+ one, right? That leads into the A+.
Yeah, that's the
That's not fun.
computer hardware one. Do these labs where you take apart a virtual computer. That's fun.
Ugh. That's no fun.
So I am
Hey,
back.
Gwen's back. Puppy happy.
I have bells on the door, and he's learned what the bells are, and he was ringing them with
Quite
good
vigorously.
intensity. I can't reinforce. No, I'm going to ignore you. So thank you for that. I appreciate it. So I've been teaching CCSP for ISC squared since about 2016, I think. 4, 5, 6 years. I don't know.
5 years. Yeah.
4 years, 5 years, something like that.
Feels like eternity.
So that's the one of the books that I have on Amazon now, because I found that the books that are out there are insufficient. It's not like CISSP. It's a different set of problems. If you're familiar with any problems around CISSP books, if you're not, then good. But if you are, it's just a different set of problems, and it's just insufficient. So I gathered all the critical pieces together that you better know these things. So if you know anybody interested in CCSP, or you are, I've been testing in the classroom for years. So where was I? So what am I doing? Why am I here? What are we talking about?
Cloud.
So, cloud. So I have been teaching for a while, but I have always been doing real work, if you want to call it that. And now my real work is at home, and I chose to get puppies. And if you hear in the background Chewbacca, that would be the puppies. They have an invented language, and they are now awake, and they just like to talk to each other. So just let me know if there's any annoyances. If I need to do something, I can take actions. What I've been working with a lot over the last year and a half is with customers, mainly some kind of provider of some sort that's providing services or helping customers of cloud providers in some way. And that's just gotten me deep into this topic, which is a very old topic. So James, if you go to the next slide, very old and familiar topic, identity and access management. It's in a way nothing new, and in a way it's completely different. It's a different beast when you're in the cloud if you haven't set it up yet. The way that somebody is granted access looks like it's obvious if you know identity and access management. Dogs. Hey. If you know identity and access management, it looks like you know what you're doing. And then
Time to kick the puppy out.
no, simple answer is I just hijack one of the puppies. Solves the problem. When you are in the cloud, it's a very different environment. Setting up access. It involves profiles, accounts, identities, profiles that are linked to accounts, profiles that are linked to identities, profiles that are linked to roles. You can jump from one level of access to a different level of access, really in a blink of an eye as you go through a cloud, just as you're really doing your work during the course of a day. And if somebody isn't carefully setting things up, you're going to end up with very wrong access. So I think on the next slide is a bedtime story for you.
There we go.
Yeah,
Once
the
upon a
beginning.
time.
Once upon a time, a bedtime, frightening and scary bedtime story for you. You may have heard about this one. It's the breach against Capital One.
Yep.
It's gotten plenty of. Yeah, it looks and sounds simple until you have knowledge. Yeah, and then it gets awfully complicated. So Capital One, this breach is. There's been a lot written about the breach, but not all the articles I found show even half of the information that I've uncovered in my research. So Ms. Paige Thompson was an employee at AWS. When she hacked, she was not. She was not working there. So if you go to the next screen, next slide. What happened is she hacked into a firewall, a web application firewall, a WAF, on AWS that belonged to Capital One. So before we go any further, it was not AWS's fault. It's within the Capital One infrastructure and architecture. And it was their configuration that allowed for lots of bad things to happen. So just to be fair to AWS, wasn't their fault. You could blame Capital One. You could blame Paige Thompson. She's got herself in a lot of trouble legally for it. She shouldn't have done it. It is hacking. But what happened, I don't know how, I've yet to uncover how she got into the WAF to begin with. But when she got there, she took over the credentials through a nice little attack. But she took over the credentials. She figured out what they were for the stars. So they hid it so it wasn't advertised in the complaint, the legal filing for the WAF role. Now, the problem with the WAF role, this is where AWS really screwed up. The problem with the WAF role is that it had access that it should never have had. Sorry, I just realized the chat messages. So I'm good. So what she was able to do was run the list buckets command, searching through the S3 buckets. And then she used the sync buckets command to download information that she found in buckets that she thought was going to be interesting. She got about 106,000 customers worth of personal data. Most of them were filing for a credit card or credit application of some sort. So it did have a fair amount of sensitive data to it. The next slide. So that's a screenshot from the complaint itself, the filing with the government. So she accessed the list bucket. She accessed the sync buckets commands. The thing is that Capital One had no idea that this permission was there. They had no idea that this role had these permissions, and they've acknowledged that it shouldn't have. With clouds, the level of complexity in an architecture on the cloud is incredible. You get, I think on the next slide, so you get hundreds and hundreds of, oh, not the next slide. So this one. So before I go there, that's all right. Next slide. This one, how do we know it was actually her? To begin with, she said it was her. So this was in a private chat message. It was also in the complaints filed. She's basically strapped herself with a bomb vest. She knew she'd done wrong. And she, as she says here, dropped the Capital One docs. She admitted to it. She's like, here's the files I got. She put them on GitHub or someplace like that. And she goes, here, have a nice day. And she just basically waited for law enforcement to come and get her. Her boss, I found a different article written by one of her bosses. I think it's on the next slides. Yeah. So one of her bosses actually wrote up an article. I've got links at the far end if people want those for reference. She appears to have been interested in suicide by cop. She seems to have been suicidal. Now, I'm going off of, this is what her boss said, not a psychologist, but based on his conversations. And he did include in the article a lot of the snippets of his email conversations with her that do back up his guesses as plausible. So he said that she may have also had sociopathic tendencies, that he says she displayed those as well. And then in the email, she said a lot of things along the lines of, she just wanted to point out our weaknesses. I don't know if she said our, but it's our weaknesses. You and I, our network, our services, our cloud provider, the things that we set up on a regular basis, whether we're the ones doing it or our company is in some way, how are we setting things up and setting it up badly? Like kind of like she's advocating for our jobs. When we need more people in security, we need more people to pay attention to security. Wasn't really what she was saying, but it does kind of translate to that. So kind of interesting motives, but she didn't just hack Capital One. She hacked 30 other businesses as well. Just Capital One is the one that's gotten all the news. So that's one that we know about. Then next slide. I remember, yeah. So she's now facing, just with this one complaint that's been filed. This was 2019. Yeah, it was the Capital One hack by Miss Paige Thompson. Why is it once somebody turns really bad, we start using appropriate pronouns? Like how to not say something bad about her. I'll call her Miss Thompson or Miss Paige Thompson. What she did is unacceptable. If what she was trying to do, there's a lot of stories out there, a lot of written documentation, but what she did is definitely bad. She should serve time as appropriate according to how it works out in the court cases. And I'm a fan of law enforcement, and if you do wrong, then you should pay for what you did. So that's what she's looking at with just the complaints that have been filed on Capital One. There could be a lot more that come from the customers themselves, but there's also those 30 other customers that are 30 other AWS customers, 30 other businesses she hacked. So she's looking at not quite suicide by cop, but kind of put a damper on her life if she's in jail for the next 5 years. to say the least. All right. So next
5 years.
Yeah, it's all that just to prove that we're lacking in security. She's going to go to jail for 5 years. I'm not sure I'd take that approach on trying to get my point across. In fact, I'm sure I wouldn't.
Right.
It's not happening. Now, it's just one event or one major breach. A lot of you have already heard about it, if not every one of you. So are there other breaches? And the answer is yes. That's why we have jobs in one way or another. Not that I want the breaches to happen, but we have to stop them from happening. Yeah, it definitely looks like there was something going on with her mental health. So depending on what that results in, maybe not prison that she goes to, but I don't know that she's going to get, what's the right words? She's not going to go to prison because she's incompetent to stand trial or whatever it is. I don't know that'll happen there.
Insanity plea.
Huh?
Mental health plea.
Yeah.
An insanity plea or mental health plea or whatever it is.
There it is. So a couple other breaches. MGM Resorts, which owns MGM Grands, the Bellagio, and so many other hotels and resorts. They had a breach in 2020 with 10.6 million hotel guests data. But it wasn't just their guests. Their guests included their own employees, government officials, and celebrities. With names, addresses, and phone numbers. That was because of a misconfigured cloud server. It's the same thing. It's not, I don't know who MGM was writing on. I don't know if they're on Amazon or AWS or Azure or who, but it's not the cloud provider. It's MGM that had a mistake in their system that allowed for this attack to occur. CenturyLink had a network misconfiguration. Same thing. CenturyLink's fault, not the cloud provider. And for them, it was a publicly exposed database that was exposed for months. I think it was about 4 or 5. No, it was more than 4 or 5 months. I think it was 6 or 7 months it was exposed. 2 days after somebody noticed it, it was secured. Just takes a little bit of work to find it. Yeah, there is a little bit of a pattern here. Or there is, and that's the problem. Is it is so difficult to find where the problems are, where the misconfigurations are, especially with identity and access management, because it is so unlike what we've done with traditional services. Especially when you hop from one cloud provider to another, from one account to another, infrastructure to platform to software. You would think it would be logical. So it is human error. I agree, Jose. It is human error. And then in defense of those that are setting up the cloud, it's not easy to see. One, you have to understand, comprehend all the nuances to identity and access management. It's not as simple as user IDs and passwords. I say that laughing because I'm sure you know that. You don't make it to a meeting like this and not know that. It's just not that simple. So it's not as easy as that. It takes a lot of work to understand it, but then on fully understanding, comprehending what your cloud's done, especially when you start getting into CI/CD, where you've got developers pushing code almost immediately out into the environment and building servers just on a whim, set up a new server, tear down a server, add 15 servers, shut down 4 of them. It's easy, it's quick, it's marvelous, which is the benefits. Is what's good about the cloud. What we have to do is we have to figure out how to secure it before more of us end up in trouble. But Phineas wants in on the deal. I asked for a lapdog and I got a lapdog. Just at work, he's on the desk. So the next slide.
Yep.
This is, Finn, you got to lay down, buddy. The camera's on, you got to lay down. For the Verizon data breach investigations report, which is going to back up a lot of stuff that is going to be familiar. It can't not be with James as the chapter president. It is, James, you're in the right place. That's all I have to say. We need you there, and keep talking. So the biggest problems are privilege abuse. It is somebody misbehaving with their accounts, or a hacker getting into a good employee's account and then jumping from account to account, or whatever the hacker's been up to. So privilege abuse is our biggest problem. So identity and access management is our most critical topic, I think. And then with the next slide, so this is what I was saying. So this is, the hackers are going to use our credentials, or it's an employee misbehaving. So kind of local there in Florida. If anything's Florida, University of Florida Health Service Shands had an employee that for 2 years, I don't know, maybe he was bored, would go into different accounts to just look around and
See what he could see.
See what he could see. Never saw any financial information, but he could see test results, lab results, names. You can't hold someone, you can't convict because they're incompetent. Yeah, that things get interesting there. So that's
Back to Paige Thompson.
today. Huh? Yeah,
Back to Paige Thompson.
yeah. And to answer the what kind of dog, this is a Havanese. the only dog native to Cuba.
Oh, wow. Did he come with cigars? Sorry.
No, he did
Or
not.
any rum?
No. And his Spanish is not very good. I keep working on it, but I do actually speak
That's interesting.
Spanish and talk to my dogs in Spanish. All right. So a couple of years worth of access.
You can't hold someone you can't convict because they're incompetent. So hopefully people don't think that way about their employees, thinking, oh yeah, they clicked on the link. Yeah, it's because they're incompetent. So we won't charge them.
Yeah. Hopefully
There's
not.
a whole can of worms we don't want to open up.
No, not at
Anyway,
all.
sorry.
That's okay. That actually gets you to the next slide.
There we go. Oh, hey.
Familiar topic.
Just
You
a
might be
little bit.
familiar with it.
Just a little bit.
James, you talk about this. I'm sure your knowledge is much deeper. I was kind of not sort of being serious. Just be fair. But I mean, phishing, it's users'
lack of awareness that
There
they
you
end
go.
up falling. They're socially engineered with a variety of different emotional lures, whether it's greed, curiosity, fear, helpfulness. Yeah. And that email comes in and they're evolving them. They're making them harder to spot, which is why, phishing assessments can work. But if you've got an organization that are picking them off, you've got a low percentage of those phishing emails, then you're doing all right. But yeah, with the Verizon data breach report, it's greater than 50%. I think it's over 90% is due to human error,
Yep.
whether that's phishing or misconfigurations, and that's the abuse. But phishing is pretty well one of the common ways. Social engineering is the top way in the report that says, that's the reason for the data breaches, is social engineering.
It is. And with that, the other problem is a lot of the email accounts, my phrasing is not working. I walked myself into a corner. But if the hacker gets into an email account, they can then email through the business from a known good account to add to the legitimacy issues.
And that gets your business email compromised. They're monitoring all the email and checking procedures, and that goes from there.
Yep. And if nothing else, just a simple link to get them to click on something else and head down the wrong path.
Yep. That's what I always say. You're essentially opening up the front door to your organization and letting the bad guys walk in.
Pretty much.
Back to you.
Yeah, that's pretty. Thanks. It pretty much is exactly what we're doing. And if it's not this, then the misconfigurations are what's happening. So you've got a Mongo database that's sitting wide open and nobody noticed. So another issue is just simply knowing what it is as a customer of a cloud provider that you're responsible for. Somebody like Capital One has people that knows what Capital One's responsibility is, but there's getting the information to everybody that needs it. Not to mention, again, back to something with CI/CD and being able to set up and remove servers, add servers, move code, add code, set up function as a service, or all the different varieties of options that are out there. And that one person didn't get the message about security, or they have the thought, who's going to hack my code? Just one guy I remember in one of my classes, a software developer, walked in Monday morning angry. I was like, I can see this man's angry. What do I do with this? So calmly, hey, how you doing? You seem a little upset about something. Yeah, I don't know why I'm here. Okay, good. This is a topic I can help with. And it did come down to, nobody's going to hack my code. Why do I have to learn anything? My question was, what kind of code do you write? And the answer was drivers. And I thought, okay, how do I tell him you are the cause of all my problems? Nicely. Because he hasn't gotten the message someplace else. And he stayed the whole week and he calmed down and got some of the message at least. So phishing, misconfigurations, emails, identity and access management, we got problems. I don't have all the answers here. I do have some suggestions and things to look for on the next many slides, without the intent of going through some of the ones coming up. I don't have the intention of going into them. So when we flip to them, there really is good information out there. Here, let me provide some here if it's of some use in some way. So James, you now have the PDF. I don't mind sharing the PDF of this.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So just simple, basic things. Disable public access. One of the things I've been doing over the last year is I've been going through AWS, AWS, Azure, and Google Cloud, going through their documentation on many of their services. I haven't gotten to all of any of them yet, but literally looking for what has to be done. And the amount of times that I've discovered that something is not encrypted by default, like a database, which as a cloud provider, I would think they're going to encrypt by default because the type of data that people put in,
Yeah, right.
or things that are by default publicly accessible. What? This service is publicly accessible by default?
What?
Give me a mountaintop. Let me start shouting because what? I'm only playing with the 3 big providers, AWS, Azure, Google, not to discount others like IBM or Dropbox or anybody else. But to find services like that that are by default public, by default not encrypted, it just doesn't. Yeah, it is. Then that is one of the major problems, Ryan. It is the curse of default configurations. It's never been a good thing. If I am in a security class and I say something to a bunch of security professionals about default configurations, the response is immediately, no, don't do that. It's bad. You have to change it. But we don't seem to be doing that with cloud as a possible option as to what's going on. Not as a definitive, I have proof. But there's too many things where the default configuration is getting big companies in big trouble. Capital One. They've got incredible security personnel. They do. Why would they have a database or WAF role that had access to be able to view all the buckets and be able to sync to the buckets and download all the data? Doesn't make any sense. Until you put into perspective the plethora that we have. We go from hundreds or thousands of servers to thousands or tens of thousands of servers because we make them very, very small, go into microsegmentation, and it's a good thing. But now you lose control over all your configurations. So my big thing, implement MFA, multi-factor authentication, 2-factor authentication, turn it on everywhere. If you have an Amazon account, personally, Amazon.com, if you have an Amazon account and you don't have 2-factor authentication turned on and you're in this room, we need to talk. What are you doing? And whenever I say things like this, I am always lecturing myself. So I'm thinking, what if no, all those are turned on. Wait, what have I missed that I don't have 2-factor turned on? It's multi-factor, 2-factor, everything. It should be turned on for all of your personal life. And then make sure it's done at work as professionals. Yeah, I do. Yeah, I actually do. John, I do have the Zero Trust document listed coming up as something that would be good to read. It's possibly good if you can't sleep.
There you go.
Yeah, that would be really simple. SCADA systems or SCADA systems.
No, don't get me started. Don't get me started on SCADA. I think, Renelle, did you have a question? Sorry, somebody raised their hand in virtual, so I wanted to see. I think it was Renelle is who I saw. I just want to make sure.
No, that was accidentally hit.
Oh, it was accident. Oh, okay.
All
All right. Well, now you got to ask.
And it's right next to it.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, now you got to ask a question. No, I'm teasing. You're good. All right, back to you, Gwen.
Good spotting, James. All right. So other things, there's new-ish technology that's making its way into cloud because existing technology doesn't cut it. And it's cloud security posture management or assessment. The terminology is not clearly defined through people's uses of it. Yeah, air gap is not end all. It is a good start. But cloud security posture management, it seems most people are now defining it as something that should also automate the remediation. In which case, assessment is the tools that are only going to point to, hey, you need to fix this over here. Either one is a tool that's going to look through your cloud environment, your multi-cloud environment. It can look through infrastructure, platform, software as a service, and go, hey, over here. No, wait, did you look over here? Oh, wait, did you see this? And the more that a device does that, the more it's got to automate. It's kind of like the progression that we went through from IDS to IPS. If it's going to go, hey, over here's an attack, it's like, why don't you stop it? I'm not going to get to it until it's long too late. So just fix it. So it is getting automated with a lot of the products that are out there. Whether or not you want to automate it, that's a different story. But that capability needs to be there for probably most platforms, most businesses, most architectures, most corporations. All right, so those are just a couple of the best practices. On the next slide, I think is where I start out of control best practices.
There we go.
ISSA, not the Cloud Information Security Auditor, but the U.S. government agency. just to be fair.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
The government agency.
Critical Infrastructure Security Agency.
There, them. So I've got a link on the last page of the PDF if you do want it, where they've said here are the things that you should be doing if you've got a cloud architecture. And the fourth one on the list, enforce multi-factor authentication. So a lot of people, it's my own personal mission, nothing else, just with my friends and family, turn it on. It's not just my mission, it's others, but we do need to do more. So start at the beginning. I'm not covering all of them. Don't panic. Don't go to sleep. Implement conditional access policies. It's not quite language that we traditionally use. Access policies, yes, but conditional is starting to add in features that we have been adding in, but it needs to get more specific and it needs to be done more often. See anything else particularly interesting? Active Directory, review the logs, please. I beg of you. And then there's too many logs. So you have to have tools. You have to have a good SIEM platform to help you manage all the logs that come in. So when you add in the complexity of identity and access management on the cloud we already have too many problems trying to keep up with what we have, just trying to keep up with logs, just trying to keep up with the emails that come into our own inboxes on a daily basis. Yeah, we got problems. I like the last one. So that's along the lines of the hacker getting into one of the email accounts and then using it from within your business to phish everybody else that's in there. Look at the forwarding emails. If nothing else, it could be phishing or it could be just forwarding emails from everybody else's email to the hacker. So then they can just sit back and wait for the gold to come in. Like, they've done their job. Now they can just sit and wait. Something's going to show up on their desk at some point with, there's the valuable information, because somebody's going to send out a file that has all of the crypto keys for the tokens. Nah, that would never happen. Back to RSA. I just saw something this week, because this is Monday. So today I didn't get to read it, about we finally get all the details about what happened with the RSA hack. Oh, Sean got a USB stick at a DoD trade show. I have a Post-it note problem and a USB stick problem. If I'm walking around a trade show floor, I'll pick up either one of them. Post-it notes, I get home and I give them to my sister because she's got a bigger problem. Just can't stop picking them up. But then I get home and all the thumb drives. from a security trade show or worse, Department of Defense trade show. You just look at it and go, I'm not plugging this in. It sounded really good when I took it, but I'm not going to plug it into my computer. Now what do you do with it? They came with the virus. That's a
You
good
plug it into a Raspberry Pi.
Yeah, exactly. I just don't have one.
Have one.
I need one. All right. So the next couple of slides. So if you go one at a time, again, this is where the list is long, and I'm not going to walk through all of them. I just felt compelled to put them here because they are good pieces of information. Policy that does not allow employees to use personal devices for work. Oh, wait, that's not a new one. But this is cloud specific advice. So it's not everything is brand new. The discussion that cloud is just computers in somebody else's possession is accurate. So a lot of the stuff that we have been doing does apply. And then we need new solutions to try and manage the entire architecture. Anything else that interesting? Restricting users from forwarding emails outside their domain. Have a mitigation plan or procedures in place. Incident response. Anybody familiar with incident response? Very familiar with incident response. So some of this is just stuff that we've been doing in security for however long you've been in security. Some of this I've been saying for over 17 years, teaching CISSP. And then the complexity of the network, the complexity of the problems is increasing. There's no doubt about it. The next slide has more fun. Allow users to consent only to app integrations that have been pre-approved. That would be nice. And then it's going to stop somebody from being able to get their work done, and somebody's going to not do that. They're going to make it here. Just, I trust you. Yeah. And then you end up with the Facebook games going. And so conditional access, back to that one, takes us to zero trust mindset. Yeah. Yeah. The USB swag, one of the groups, I think it's not a political statement. I think it was during Trump's administration that, not a political statement. I'm from DC. I'm not going there. I'm just trying to put it in time frame. I'm from DC. I don't do politics. A group had gone to China and they got a swag bag, and one had a little USB fan, which I happen to have mine plugged in. It's lovely, marvelous. I did not pick it up in China. It didn't get shipped from China. It got shipped from Amazon, so I'm sure it wasn't made in China. But the USB fan that was in the swag bag for the US government employees did have a virus on it. Oops. So another good thing to get into is zero trust. If you have not looked at it, yeah, that DoD document, the NIST document, either one will put you to sleep, but something we got to get into. Zero trust. The first time I started hearing the term zero trust, my thought was, is this just another cool buzzword? Because that's how I think. I don't trust anybody. I don't trust anything. Like, I can't see your faces. It's okay. But just saying anything government or anything politics related, and like, it's not politics. Really, I'm not paranoid, I swear. If you don't trust yourself, John, I can't help you, man. I can't do it. You're on your own on that one. That's all I can tell you. But zero trust, it is look from the inside out. It's switch the perspective rather than saying I have users. What does that user need access to? So I've got an object, notebook on my desktop. I've got an object. Who needs access to this? And these are my notes to keep me on track with what I have to accomplish in any given day. So my answer is, well, nobody. So it goes back on my desk and stays on my desk in my house, where my puppy, if I put it on the floor, would tear it apart. So if you hear any background noise, that's what he's doing. He's tearing something apart. It's okay. Just needs fiber. Yeah, he gets plenty. Right now he's getting a little bit of plastic, I think. He's just he's shredding something for me. He is shredding as a service. He is. He's really good at it. All right. But so Zero Trust goes from the other direction. It's changed the perspective, and then think from a very, very small perspective. Build that micro segmentation, have small servers with very few groups of people that would ever have access to it, and things will get more secure. A little bit more work. But in the news tomorrow because someone like Miss Thompson hacked into your network, or a little bit more work to secure things. And as you move into the cloud, if a company hasn't started that process or is new to the process, then it's a good time to start implementing it now before it gets big and you try and reverse it and change how everything's set up. It's best to do it from the beginning. So critical things. The next two slides are more fun. Oh, I was thinking I forgot about this one. There's more RDP ports and VPNs. And all right, so the next two slides, I think that's enough from there. No. See, there's two that I forgot about. Now, these are the ones I was thinking about. The go back one, though, that's a good fun one. There, establish a blame-free employee reporting system. Please let the users tell you they've done something, seen something, read something. And then email came in, and the number of users I've heard from, James, you can probably say a lot more on this again. Just saying you could, but the number of users I've heard it from is that they say, oh, I didn't want to forward that email to security. I don't want to bother them. It's just little old me. I don't want to bother them. I'll just click on the link and see what happens. That never happens, does it?
Or the other flip side to it is if they're worried that if they do click on it and something happens, they'll get fired. And that's a big misnomer as well.
So then they don't click on something that they need?
Well, what it is there's a fear, and so they just don't click on anything, but which is kind of going the wrong way with it. You want your culture to be able to have a reporting capability, be aware of the incident response, what to look for. If they see something, say something.
I've been working with Cisco as a contractor off and on since '94, but at one point I got a Cisco laptop so I could get into internal servers that I needed access to. Got my Cisco email, which is still set up. Don't forward it to me. Don't send anything to me because I don't have access to it. But one of the first emails looked awfully official. I just got my laptop. I just got it all set up. Official looking email saying, here, you need to do this. Oh dear, another thing on my list. And I clicked on it and it goes, wrong answer. You've been phished. I said, okay, fine. You're going to do that to me when I just got it and it looked that official? I'm not clicking on anything else. Hopefully my boss will tell me when I need something.
Yeah, then you're expecting it.
Not a good plan. All right, so the next
6 days working at it KnowBe4, I got a similar email, and it was like somebody used your credentials and had logged in India. And I was like, are you kidding me? Somebody's already got my email. I've been there like a week. And I turned to my colleague and said, look at this. Somebody in India has already, oh, wait, hang on a second. And then because I took that moment and then I hovered over the link and I'm like, yep, it's one of our own phishing tests. So.
Yeah. And knowing you're going to work for a company, being very present to phishing took that extra second. I didn't. Yep. I got phished by Cisco. Such a proud moment of mine. But it's just, it's that easy. If security professionals, and I look at myself this way, if as a security professional, if I made that mistake, what can we expect from?
Yeah. Well, we had Chris Hadnaggy on. If you know, I know a lot of our folks know him, Mr. Social Engineer. He almost got phished with an Amazon because he's an Amazon junkie. And he got one of those Amazon emails that said, hey, your package has been delayed. And he's like, what? And he had his finger on it, but he didn't fully click through. It didn't launch. So he got lucky. But yeah, The latest one, Jerry said the latest one is someone says stole your credit card. I keep getting ones that tell me my Instagram is locked and to click the link to reactivate. And I'm like, no.
Yeah, I'm not currently getting any, or my spam filters are catching them.
Nope. Well, they got the same. They've got the same technology. They're checking their emails against what's going through, and then put that in the bank to use for attack.
So, John, when are we going to change red team? Red team is offensive. Red team's blue teams.
Yep.
Right up there with
Purple
white hats, black hats, and don't get me started on that one.
Gray hats.
Yeah, we have to change just the inappropriate level of language that we use. We must be more sensitive. And anyways, so then the next two slides are AD specific or M365. So there's 4 really good tips there if you're using Microsoft 365, like the first one with make sure you do have a few people that do have the ability to do the e-discovery, to do the forensics work that's necessary, but not too many of them.
Right.
It needs to be there, but it needs to be controlled for sure. Then the next slide is another couple fun things. Oh, wait. Do not allow an unlimited amount of unsuccessful login attempts. We're back to, we know this. So a lot of the stuff is just not new because of cloud, but cloud does complicate things. So cloud security posture management, CSPM, or anything like that is definitely something to look into. Zero trust, highly recommend looking into it. We got to work on securing things. And I think that's all of my annoyance for you.
Zero trust.
Oh, zero trust, which I already ran my mouth on. Yep. So those are the 2 that I have on Amazon right now. I've got an enterprise risk management book that's coming soon. It's written. I'm editing at this point. So hopefully soon. And the ISSA book coming to Audible soon.
Ooh, who's doing the Audible?
I am.
You're reading it? Cool.
Yep. I got a decent little microphone.
A Yeti.
Yeah, I like my Yeti.
Yep. And your Yeti cup.
Oh yeah, 'tis true.
Yeah. Then all you need to do is get another puppy and name that Yeti, and then you got your triple Yeti.
Now you're out of control. So
I haven't even said.
but that's about it. So there's one more slide that has some of the links that I've referenced or pointed out.
Cool.
All right,
Well, I'm going to drop. I've got it. I've already uploaded it to our SharePoint. I just dropped the link in the chat so everybody can download a copy of the deck if they want it.
Yep.
Check out Gwen's book, especially with the CCSP. I know I've got a lot of students that are interested in cloud security. So it's kind of, and it's funny because for me right now, cloud is what the firewalls were 10, 15 years ago. It's like, hey, we got a firewall, we're secure. Did you configure it? Oh, and then they get hacked. And with cloud, it's like, we're going to save money. We're going to go into the cloud. Did you secure it? Oh, So yeah, it's kind of that next, the next evolution of security and IT technology and everything else that we go into. It's like, what's the next widget that comes along? Then we're like, ooh, hey, this is great. You can save us money, and we'll go into it. And I was working on an article the other week, and it was all about perimeter, and it was all a little bit of zero trust, but it was about perimeters and how years ago we could keep our arms around our facility, and you didn't hear a lot about the data breaches and ransomware attacks, and now you're hearing so much about it because we're all in the cloud. And so I started to come up with the thought process of, was cloud a mistake? And I'm still working through hypotheses and reasons for that. I think cloud is amazing. It's great because it makes things more accessible, but we're seeing so many more attacks. Is it because of the cloud, or is it because of other things? I think it's other things, but just kind of getting on a fun argument of, was moving to the cloud a mistake, and just kind of going with that thought. So Yeah, it's kind of interesting because I remember when cloud first, I think it was when I was 2008. I know I was using some cloud technologies, and you had some organizations moving into the cloud, and I was like, yeah, from a skater perspective, yeah, that's a bad idea. But from a corporate IT perspective, putting HR systems, that still scares me, but corporate HR, finance, there's so many things out there, Salesforce, and so forth. So me personally, it's always felt like a long-tailed cat in a room full of rocking chairs. So,
It's a good one.
Oh yeah. Any questions from anybody? Anybody want to ask Gwen anything related to, CISSP or other certifications? She's got a great demonstration when it comes to cryptography. You and the markers. That was always the private key and the public key. There we go. The red and the blue. Or what was the other thing? MS Chap, DP or whatever that.
Oh my God, you remember the Pap Chap Eep?
There it is. Yeah.
People's heads, and I lived there for a while.
Yeah.
Usually helpfully.
Oh yeah.
So the one thing I want to say about cloud is right now where all the books are, and I don't understand why, including the IC² books, is we're at a lack of focus. Like the question is, what do I study? And if you go off of what's in the book, ISC² official books or all in one or any of those, just pick a book and go, if I studied this, am I good? And the answer is no. So that's my warning. The data that's there, it's nothing bad against any of the books in terms of what they do have. It's just insufficient. So my book is just trying to gather all the pieces so you can go on the hunt for all the data that you need to learn.
Hence the lion on the cover?
Kind of. That's just another picture I took, and I had a moment in Guardians of the Cloud, and who else to guard other than a full lion?
Is the CCSP book good enough for someone with existing cloud like AWS associate architecture certification to prepare, or what else do you recommend?
So the answer is it might just be enough. It depends on when you get in there, what you see and you go, I'm sorry, what? I've never heard of this. Then the answer is no, you got to go someplace else, because it's just a very small amount of information on any given topic. So you could go through there and go, I know all this, or you could go through there and go, I'm missing a couple of things, in which case I do have a lot of references, and the good things to read right now are all free other than my book.
Yeah.
But it's it's a joint venture that IC² did with CSA, the Cloud Security Alliance. So the Cloud Security Alliance documents are critical to the test, as well as NIST documents. And those are all free, and they're well written. Book in progress, enterprise risk management. I'm thinking the next 2 months or so, hopefully. All my work plate. Yeah, hopefully. So sometime soon. It is written. I just am in editing.
Oh, need a reviser. So CCSP Cloud Guardians, $20 for the Kindle version, $25 for the paperback. So pretty good prices right there. I mean, considering the fact you see a lot of the other study books are out there for 50 plus. So.
Yeah. And since I want to make it accessible, I want it available, and it's not sufficient to all the studies, so I don't feel that it's worth spending that much money on it.
Right.
To be perfectly fair about it.
So here's a curious question. Do you think, could your CCSP Cloud Guardians make for an interesting textbook?
Yeah.
If it was to be used to study in class in a school?
Yes.
There we go, Jerry.
It needs to be expanded on, but again, pull cloud document or CSA documents or NIST documents or something. Otherwise, I'm planning on expanding it. Just don't know when that's going to happen.
Gotcha. Cool. Your dogs are chatty. Ah.
Yeah, he's at the back door again, but I think he just wants a squirrel, which is why I'm
he's protecting you from the squirrel. Gotcha.
Yeah. Sorry about the barking.
That's okay. Any other questions from anybody? So I got the link out there so you can download her presentation, which is good. So you're gonna be traveling again anytime soon? Go to any conferences? Promote the book tour?
So, full truth, this is my first ISC squared chapter meeting.
Oh, it's 'cause you can only go to the best, so you start with right. Yeah.
I've never had the chance to go to a meeting because I've always been on the road, and I
Right.
usually teach 12-hour days, and
You're done at the end of those 12-hour days.
well, the meetings are over as well. So
We're all doing them all virtual.
maybe I'll get to some conferences now.
Cool. That'd be good.
Otherwise, yeah, thanks. It's been a pleasure to be here.
Wow. We'll see what we can do by getting you some of the other chapters. I know some people.
I'm interested. I'm willing.
Cool.
Yeah.
WICYS is in Denver this year. Hey, there you go.
What's WICYS?
Women in Cybersecurity.
Oh, definitely worth checking out.
Yeah.
And I love Denver.
And Denver's nice, yes. Mile High City, right? Good beer. Yeah. Gotta go for the good stuff, right? Gotta go for the important reasons.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's good. Jerry wants to go. That's good to hear. Cool. Well, let me see. Where's I think we've also got, where's my presentation? Let me bring up my deck. Okay, there we go. So, yep. Also, so Gwen is also on LinkedIn. You can go follow her there.
I keep the mute button if you want to mute me, because I'm still getting messages I can't share. So if you want to mute me, you're welcome to.
All right, I'll just mute everybody. So everybody's muted, so you just unmute. I think I've also just realized that, so Robert has got the June Eventbrite set up. Robert, is that the link, but instead of May, it's supposed to be June?
Correct.
Okay, so the new Eventbrite's up. Next month, we're going to have, I've got 2 speakers. I've got one confirmed, and I've got another one lined up. Gabriel Gums, who missed us last month, is going to be here next month. He after his email to me the next day apologizing profusely that his partners came in town and he had to go entertain them, but he would love to come and talk to us. So I said, fine, you got June, you better be there. And then the other, and his info is already in Eventbrite. The other speaker that I've got lined up is Katie Teitler. And Katie used to be the content director for InfoSec World. She now works for Tag Cyber, doing a lot of research and stuff. I was chatting with her, and she's got it on her calendar, so I just got to send her the invite. But she'll be presenting next month with us as well. So we got 2 fantastic speakers. Katie's from Boston. Gabriel is from Tampa, and Gabe's got a podcast too. So on privacy, which is good stuff. So I want to again say thank you to Gwen. Great information with regards to cloud. Check out her book, folks. You know, I'm putting a shameless plug into it, but heck, if she trained me, then she can train everybody else. So I'm thrilled that we got her here today, and hopefully you all got a lot out of it. Our next chapter meeting is we'll get everybody 2 CPs for tonight, even though we didn't go the 2 full hours. A great student. Yeah, but when I left you, I was with the student. Now I am the master. Sorry, I just had to do that. So anyway, it'll be the 4th Monday, June. So whatever that is in June. Let's see, what is that? Someone's going to beat me to it, I know, but I'll do 28th. The fourth Monday in June is when we'll meet. So the 28th. 21st is when we have our board meeting. But no, the 28th. So we look forward to seeing all of you then. Have yourself a wonderful evening. Thanks for your engagement, your involvement, your participation. And again, thank you, Gwen. Have a good night, everybody. We'll see y'all later.
See ya.
See ya. And now I stop the recording.